When everything falls apart, remember this. We often find ourselves asking the same painful question, why did this have to happen to me? In moments of hardship, it feels as though the universe has singled us out for suffering. We lose something dear, an opportunity slips away, or life suddenly changes in ways we cannot control, and we wonder if destiny is unfair. Yet, when life gives us comfort, recognition, or success, we rarely stop to reflect. Instead, we become proud, absorbed in our own achievements, and forget that none of it was entirely by our own doing. In both joy and sorrow, there is a greater hand at work, a plan beyond what our limited vision can grasp. The truth is, human beings have a narrow lens. We see only the present moment and judge it too quickly as either fortunate or unfortunate. But time has a way of revealing the deeper meaning behind events. What appears as loss today may turn into a hidden blessing tomorrow. What feels like triumph today may one day prove to be a lesson in disguise. This is why wisdom teaches us to neither boast too much in times of gain nor despair too deeply in times of loss. When we forget the role of the Creator, we assume we are the authors of everything, of our victories, our wealth, our comfort. But when that same life suddenly collapses, we feel betrayed, as if the universe turned against us. In truth, life is never punishing or rewarding blindly. Every twist, every challenge, every gift is part of a design far greater than our understanding. Therefore, instead of asking why me? Perhaps the better question is, what is life teaching me right now? In patience and humility, we find the strength to trust the process. For only time will tell what is truly good or bad, and only faith allows us to walk calmly through both. In a quiet village at the foot of a green hill lived a man named Mr. Adam. He was not wealthy, nor was he known for any remarkable power or influence. Instead, he lived a simple life, sustained by the little land he owned and the strength of his hands. For him, having 2 meals a day was already a blessing. Many would have called such a life poor, but Adam carried within him a rare quality: he was deeply content. He never complained, never compared his fate to that of others, and never allowed bitterness to enter his heart. His days were spent working the soil, sowing seeds, and caring for his small farm. Beside him was his only son, Daniel, who shared in his labor, and a remarkable companion, his strong white horse, Max. Max was no ordinary horse. He was clever, swift, and hard-working, almost as if he understood the heart of the family he belonged to. For both Adam and Daniel, Max was not just an animal, he was a friend, a partner, a member of their household. Though Adam lived in poverty, his wealth was measured differently. He possessed a heart free from envy and a mind unshaken by life's constant demands for more. Where others saw struggle, he saw gratitude. Where others found reason to complain, he found reason to smile. His way of living stood in quiet contrast to the restless desires of the villagers around him. This balance of humility and contentment gave Adam a kind of strength that many failed to recognize. It was not the strength of riches or position, but the strength of spirit, the ability to remain steady in both lack and abundance. This inner quality would soon be tested, as life unfolded events that no one in the village could have predicted. And in those trials, Adam's calm acceptance would shine as a profound lesson not only for his son but for everyone who watched his story unfold. One day, the quiet rhythm of Adam's life was interrupted. Word of Max's beauty and strength spread beyond the village, reaching the ears of a wealthy businessman named Mr. Smith. Intrigued, Mr. Smith traveled with his son to see the horse with his own eyes. The moment he laid eyes on Max, he was captivated. With great enthusiasm, he offered Adam a fortune, an amount of money that could have changed Adam's life entirely, lifting him from his humble existence into comfort and abundance. To the villagers, such an offer was nothing short of a miracle. They urged Adam to accept, whispering that this was his chance to escape poverty once and for all. Yet Adam, with quiet certainty, declined. He could not put a price on Max, who was not merely property but part of his family. His decision left many baffled. "Adam is a fool," they muttered. "How could a poor man turn down such wealth?" Not long after, something shocking occurred. Max disappeared. One morning, the stable was empty, and no trace of the beloved horse could be found. Adam and Daniel searched tirelessly through fields and forests, calling his name, but Max was gone. The village buzzed with gossip. Those who had mocked Adam for refusing the offer now ridiculed him even more. "See?" they laughed. "He wasn't even worthy of keeping such a treasure. Fortune was knocking on his door, and he slammed it shut. Now he has nothing." Daniel, devastated, turned to his father. "How can you stay calm, father? We've lost something so valuable, something we love so much." Adam looked at his son with gentle eyes and replied, "My son, do not rush to call this misfortune. In every event, there is both good and bad. We may not see it now, but time will reveal its truth. Daniel could not understand how his father remained so composed. To him, the loss was unbearable. Yet Adam's calm presence stood as a quiet reminder, life's verdict cannot be given in a single moment. Several days passed in silence, with no sign of Max. Daniel's heart grew heavier each day, convinced that they had lost their beloved companion forever. Yet one early morning, while Adam and his son were working in the fields, a familiar sound reached their ears, the sharp, rhythmic beat of hooves. Daniel turned and could hardly believe his eyes. There was Max, galloping proudly back toward them. But he was not alone. Behind him followed 5 wild horses, strong and untamed, their manes flowing like streams of fire in the wind. The sight stunned the entire village. News spread quickly, the horse that was thought to be lost forever had not only returned but had brought with him a small herd. The same villagers who had mocked Adam now hurried to his side, their voices full of praise. What incredible luck! Adam is blessed beyond measure. Truly, fortune smiles on him. But Adam, as always, remained calm. With neither pride nor excitement, he simply smiled and said, "Perhaps Max went to the forest to find his own kind. Now he has returned with them." His words were simple, yet his composure puzzled everyone. Where others would have celebrated wildly, Adam treated the event as just another turn of life's wheel. Daniel, however, could not hide his joy. To him, the return of Max and the gift of 5 new horses was proof that fortune had finally favored their family. Eagerly, he began to care for the animals, training them each day with determination and hope. The work was difficult, but Daniel's heart was light, filled with visions of what these horses could mean for their future. Yet as his father often reminded him, no moment in life should be judged too quickly. While the villagers saw nothing but good fortune, Adam's steady gaze suggested something deeper. Blessings and burdens often arrive hand in hand, and only time reveals which is which. Daniel threw himself wholeheartedly into training the wild horses. Each day, from dawn until dusk, he worked tirelessly, feeding them, guiding them, and teaching them to bear the weight of riders. It was not an easy task. The wild horses were powerful and untamed, their spirits unwilling to submit. But Daniel, full of youthful energy and optimism, believed he could conquer them with patience and effort. Then, one afternoon, misfortune struck. While attempting to ride one of the more stubborn horses, Daniel was suddenly thrown violently to the ground. The fall was so severe that his legs snapped under the weight of his body. He cried out in pain, and the villagers rushed to witness the scene. His leg was broken, leaving him unable to walk. Once again, whispers filled the village. "See?" they said. "These horses were never a blessing. Adam's greed has brought suffering upon his family. What use are 5 new horses if they cost him his son's health?" Daniel, writhing in pain, felt the sting of their words. Turning to his father, he cried, "This time, Father, it truly is bad. We lost nothing before compared to this. My leg is broken, how can any good come from this?" His voice was heavy with bitterness and despair. But Adam, as always, remained calm. He gently placed a hand on his son's shoulder and said, "My son, remember what I have always told you, good and bad cannot be judged in a single moment. What seems like misfortune today may protect you tomorrow. Let time reveal its meaning." Daniel could not accept these words. The pain in his body clouded his thoughts, and patience felt impossible. Yet Adam's composure stood firm, like a steady flame in the midst of storm. He refused to call the event a curse, for he understood that life's story is never complete in just one chapter. Only a week had passed since Daniel's accident when the quiet life of the village was shaken by news far greater than any personal misfortune. A war had erupted in the land. The government, desperate for soldiers, ordered that every able-bodied young man in the village be taken to the battlefield. Fear spread like wildfire. Families wept as they watched their sons, some no older than Daniel, being led away to an uncertain fate. The same villagers who had mocked Adam's bad luck now trembled. They knew war brought nothing but suffering. Many whispered prayers, hoping their children would return, though deep down, they feared the worst. The sound of mothers crying filled the streets, and the once peaceful village felt as though a dark cloud had settled over it. In the midst of this despair, Daniel sat at home with his broken leg. While others were forced into service, he was left behind. His injury, which had seemed such a curse, now became his protection. Though his body ached, his life was spared. Adam's words suddenly echoed with new meaning. What seems bad today may protect you tomorrow. Days turned into weeks, and news from the front lines trickled back. Many of the young men had not survived. The village was filled with grief as families mourned their sons who would never return. Those who once ridiculed Adam now came to him with tears, saying, "You are fortunate, Adam. Your son was spared, but we lost ours." Adam, with calm compassion, did not boast or celebrate. He simply sat beside Daniel and said gently, "Do you see, my son? Losing Max seemed terrible, yet it brought us more horses. Your broken leg seemed unbearable, yet it saved your life. Life cannot be measured in single moments. What appears as tragedy may hold hidden blessings." In that moment, Daniel began to understand what his father had tried to teach all along, that life's events, whether joyful or painful, cannot be judged at first sight. Time reveals their meaning, and patience uncovers their truth. As Daniel sat with his father, reflecting on all that had happened, the pieces of the puzzle finally began to align. What once seemed like random misfortunes now revealed themselves as stepping stones in a greater plan. The disappearance of Max, the sudden return with 5 wild horses, the painful accident, and even the outbreak of war, all these events were connected, woven together by threads unseen. Mr. Adam, calm and steady from beginning to end, had never rushed to judge life's moments. He understood a wisdom that most people overlook: nothing is purely good or bad when it first happens. Every event carries 2 sides, and only time can reveal its true meaning. That is why he never boasted in moments of gain nor despaired in moments of loss. His strength lay not in controlling life, but in accepting it with patience and trust. For Daniel, this realization was transformative. He finally saw that his father's composure was not indifference but deep faith, faith that life unfolds according to a greater design. What we call misfortune may protect us from unseen dangers, while what we call fortune may carry hidden burdens. To live wisely is to neither cling too tightly to joy nor sink too deeply into sorrow. The lesson of Adam's life speaks to us all: be patient, be grateful, and keep your faith strong. When something good happens, receive it with humility. When something difficult comes, endure it with courage. Remember that every experience, whether sweet or bitter, is temporary and serves a purpose. In the end, life is not about labeling moments as good or bad but about walking through them with balance. As time unfolds, we begin to see that everything truly happens for a reason. And when we trust that truth, we find peace, not because life is always easy, but because we no longer need it to be.
Thank you for watching until the end of the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel to watch more interesting videos.